Hi everyone, and welcome to the book Refuge, and welcome to a video that I all of a sudden realized I hadn't filmed yet when I started seeing everybody else's go up. And obviously you can tell by the title that it is anticipated releases. There are so many good books coming out in 2020. This is basically going to focus on the first half of the year, and I'm only going to go over the ones I'm most excited for. And in fact, I already own like 4 of them because today's the first Tuesday of 2020 and I've already bought some of them. But I thought I would share with you just in case you haven't watched anyone else's video yet who already made one or you're interested in knowing which ones are my favorite that are coming out. So most of these have a release date. A couple of them don't, but I'm going to talk about them anyway. So let's get going with a few that are already out right now that I actually purchased today. So the first one is Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim. I was very excited for this one to come out. It is being sold as a gender-swapped version of The Count of Monte Cristo, which I've never read the original classic, The Count of Monte Cristo, but the film from 2002, 2001 is my favorite movie of all time. So I really love the story, The Count of Monte Cristo, even though I haven't read the original classic itself. It is on my list of classics to read in 2020. We'll see. Maybe this will inspire me to do so. I'm very attached to the movie version, so it's hard for me to want to usurp that with the original, because I know that the original is the original, but it still makes me scared. But anyway, this one is about a girl named Amaya who has been trapped on a slave ship for the last 7 years, and her life changes when she saves this man who offers her treasure and riches and the opportunity to get revenge on the family that caused her to be on this prison ship. So, super excited. It's not very long either. And I really want to get to this one soon. So we'll see if I'm able to squeak it in January or if it just ends up on my endless pile of TBR. But very excited for this one. Next today came out Nameless Queen by Rebecca McLaughlin. I actually had an e-arc of this book. I didn't get around to reading it. I'm really bad with e-arcs. I try not to accept ones that I'm not super interested in, but I was really interested in this one. I just ran out of time near the end of the year to get to it. So this one has a really cool premise though. So this is about a girl who is nameless, which is a part of a cast that the people don't have names, I'm assuming. And everyone believes that the next heir will be the king's daughter, Esther. However, there's this certain symbol, I believe, or tattoo that comes up on the next, it's a tattoo that comes up on the next ruler. And this one comes up on the nameless, and so she is the nameless queen. And it kind of throws this whole kingdom into chaos because it's just this random person from a lower caste that doesn't have any power as far as we know or anything going on, and they're going to be the next ruler of the kingdom. Sounds fascinating. I'm really excited to give it a try. I wish I'd got to it beforehand, but we'll see if I can get to it soon. The last one that I already purchased, and I've actually already read because I got an arc of this one, is A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kimmerer. I had to buy a finished copy. This one, the Barnes & Noble one, has character art inside as well as a bonus chapter, which I am going to read when I'm done filming this. I love this. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved the first book in the series, A Curse So Dark and Lonely. This one continues on, but it's from different points of view than we read last time, and I loved it. I didn't think that I would love it as much, but I think I actually loved it more than the first one. And it answers a couple questions, but it also gives you so many more. And I don't know if this is only going to be a trilogy. I think it is, but I want the next one so quickly. And I'm really bummed that I have to wait. But I really, really love this book. If you love the first one, I'm sure you'll read this. I hope you give the first one a chance if you haven't. Here, let's look at the naked one too. Has the two, this beautiful cover art. I like that it's purple underneath here. That's cool. So definitely you should give this series a try if you haven't. I've read one of Bridget Kimmerer's other books. That's a contemporary, and I loved that one too. And this is amazing. It's so good. It's so good. The last January release I want to mention, which again, I have a whole bunch of them listed, but I'm just listing the ones that I'm most excited for, is Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey. This is the sequel / companion novel to Fix Her Up, which I read last year and I loved it so much. And we've already met the characters that this one is about. I know that it has this alpha male who used to be in the military, and he already has a wife, but they're having some marital issues and she's ready to kind of give up, and it kind of gives her husband a kick in the butt that if he wants to keep his wife, he better step up his game. And I love stories like that. I love when it's kind of a second chance with a couple that's already married and they're gonna give it another go, and I love that. It makes me so happy. So moving on to some February releases I'm excited for. I just read an arc of The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. I'll be talking about that in my January wrap-up. This one comes out February 25th. This is a story about a girl named Alessandra, who is the second-born daughter of a lord, and she is taking her run at making the Shadow King fall in love with her. Now, the Shadow King is very mysterious. He has some interesting laws that no one's allowed within 5 feet of him. No one's allowed to touch him. He is very secretive, and he keeps to himself because his parents were murdered a few years back, and he is now 19 years old. He is under a regency, which means there are people they're not ruling in his stead, but they're like co-ruling with him right now, and he really suspects one of his council members as being the ones who killed his parents. And so they are really encouraging him to get married, but he doesn't necessarily want to do that. And then Alessandra, she's making it her goal to marry the king and then kill him because she wants to be the Shadow Queen or be the ruler of this country. So I really, really enjoyed this book. I think it just has that like thing about it where Trisha Levenseller, her books are just like candy to me. They read really fast. They're really tasty. This one had a lot of substance to me. It went in places I didn't expect it to go, and I'm really excited for other people to get their hands on it. And I know a lot of people will read it since it's Trisha Levenseller, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So also, I'm planning to read this book next month. I already have an arc of it, and I'm really sad I haven't read it yet, but I figured I would read it the month that it came out to kind of help build hype for it. But that is The Stars We Steal by Alexa Dunn. This is her second novel that is out. I won it from her YouTube page. She has an AuthorTube channel giving lots of great advice, and she's really fun. But this is her next book after Brightly Burning, which was a Jane Eyre like retelling in space, and this one is a retelling of Persuasion mixed with The Bachelor Bachelorette in space. And she said it is like chronologically set like 50 years before the other one, even though so there's certain like that you'll see the connections if you read Brightly Burning, which I love stories like that where they're all separate but connected a little bit. So I'm very excited to give this one a go. I love Persuasion. I feel like it's one of the least loved of Jane Austen, but I really love the story of Persuasion. So I'm very excited to give it a try. Also coming out in February is The King of Crows by Libba Bray. I'm only on the second book in this series right now, but I'm loving it. And I'm very excited that the whole series will be out, so that when I finally like push through the rest of it, they'll all be out. That one also comes out on February 4th, so very excited for that. In March, there was just 2 I wanted to bring up. Actually 3, I think. One of them is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. My friend Murphy just got to read an arc of this, and she really, really liked it. This is the story of this girl who she had an affair with her professor, and just now, years later, she's really starting to realize how unhealthy that was, and that she was actually abused and she wasn't really in an equal relationship with this professor. So I'm very into it. I really love age gap romances. You'll know this. But I also like there to be honesty about the fact that those aren't healthy, especially if it's a especially if it's a teacher-student relationship where the student is underage. Like, that's not legal. It's not okay. And just because sometimes there are, like, romantic fantasies about that, it is good to remind young people that it's not actually a good thing. So I like seeing both sides. I'm an equal opportunity of the things. And Murphy made this sound very interesting, and she really liked it. Also, Night of the Dragon by Julie Kagawa. I am this month finally finishing The Soul of the Sword. I just wasn't in the mood for it when I got the arc of it and then when the book came out, but I really loved the first one, and it's just the second one's really depressing. So I'm very excited for the third one to be out so that when I finish the second one, I can get to the third one and hopefully have a happy ending. Hopefully. We'll see. But the series is really fun. It has a lot of, like, Japanese, my friend told me there's a lot of, like, anime tropes and things like that that are really well represented in this, because that's not something I'm familiar with, but she is, and she says that it's pretty good. And then Hunting November by Adriana Mather. I'm still trying to get an e-arc of this because I got to read an arc of Killing November, and I really loved it. It's this weird mix of, it's kind of like, it's this school where, oh man, how to describe Killing November? It's fascinating. But it's this school where these kids are all the kids of really, of like spies and famous families, and they have this really weird setup, this underground CD setup of things. And so their kids, they all go to the same school. And in the first one, there was someone trying to kill November in that one, and at the end of that book, some stuff happens, and then this happens. I know that's really vague, but I really enjoyed Killing November. It surprised me in a lot of things. It has some tropes I really love, like there's a school where it's not magic, but it's like an assassin school, but it reminds me more of Hogwarts just because of how it's set up, but it's like a dangerous, like, Hogwarts is dangerous. We all know that, but I mean, like, really dangerous as in you're trying to kill each other dangerous, and I loved it, and yeah, it's really good, so I'm excited for the next. Okay, and then I'm skipping ahead to May because there's a lot coming out in May that I'm excited for. First is Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This book got some seriously mixed reviews last year, but I loved it because it had a lot of tropes that I like, including a really big cast and people coupling up, and there is some like bisexual characters and some gay characters, and there's alien creatures, and there's faded romance, and there's just all the things. And this one has Kai on the front, or Cal, not Kai, sorry, Cal on the front, and I was a big fan of Cal. Like, he is my alpha male, space elf, beautiful person. I love him, and he had some stuff happen to him in Aurora Rising, and I'm very excited for this one. I cannot wait. I love Jay and Amy writing together, and I don't care if people say that it's trash, because it is scoop me up some hot garbage then, because I love it, and I don't think it's garbage. I love it so much. I'm trying to get an arc of this one as well. I'm entering all the contests I can. I'm such a huge fan of Jay and Amy, and I actually got to meet him last year in Utah when he did a signing of Aurora Rising, and I loved it so much. It was so great. Then there's a book called The Betrothed coming out by Kira Cass. I don't know anything about this. I have not read a single other Kira Cass book, but I want to. I just don't want to reread, like, I don't want to read her, like, old YA that a lot of people have. You know, people like that for nostalgia purposes, but I think the consensus is that it's kind of like, you know, not the best, but people have nostalgia for it. Whereas this looks really good, and that's it. That's all I have to say. It just looks great. It looks historical and romancy and YA, and I want it. So I want that. And then a book I think we're all hyped for, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Susan Collins. Oh yeah, we want that Hunger Games prequel. There's nothing else we need to say about that. Okay, so let me check my other list here. Oh yes, I don't have this one written down. I want to read Shadow Wand by Laurie Forrest. This is the third book in what I believe is supposed to be 4 books in the Black Witch Chronicles. I think that's what it's being called. I loved The Black Witch and The Iron Flower. Sorry, I had to remember. It was hotly contentioned by some people. A lot of people didn't like our main character in the first book. I make a passionate argument for this at the beginning of last year because I think that's the point. I think you're supposed to hate her, and then you get to watch as the prejudices and racism she exhibits change, because she never really felt the racism and, you know, things from herself. They were learned behaviors because that's the way her culture and her people act towards others. And she really questioned if she actually felt that way herself, and came to the answer that no, I'm going to treat all people with dignity and everyone is worthy of being a person. And all of this, like, you know, racism and the way we're treating people is horrible. And I love it. So I think she is a complex, amazing character. And we all want people to have the mercy for us that we would have. You know, if we had been raised ignorantly and then we examine these values and we decide to change how we look at them, that is the kind of people that we need to be, because we can't help how we're raised. We can't help what we're told when we don't know any better. But Ellerin, when she is put face to face with those prejudices, she changes her mind. And I love that. So I will defend these stories till the end. I will fight. I will fight, because I got in some Twitter battles with people about this. And I'm like, you're literally missing the point of the story if you just hate her and leave it at that. Because you're not leaving anyone room for growth. You're saying you're damned based on how you were raised if you will damn Ellerin in these stories. Woo! I just got feisty. So I'm so excited for the Shadow Wand. Sometime in the beginning of this year, I need to read the 2 novellas that I have. She gave us 2 chunky novellas. Like, they're almost books in their own right. That's the Shadow Wand and the Hand Fasting or something I need to, or Wand Fasting that I need to read. But I love her writing. I absolutely love where the story is going. There is dragons. There's all the magical creatures. There is Amazons. Like, it is amazing. The world is so complex and well built. And more people need to read about the books. But they heard about the racism and how the character is in the first one, and they never gave it a second chance. And I think that is bullshit. So anyway, let's see. Also, This Vicious Cure by Emily Saveda. I think this one comes out in February, and I don't have it on my February list. This is the wrap up to this Mortal Coil trilogy, which I think is very unique. It's not my favorite story I've ever read, but I think the setup and everything is very unique about it. And then finally, The Bride Bet by Tessa Dare. That's the last one I'll talk about in this one, I think. Oh no, I have one more. So The Bride Bet, this is the 4th book in the Girl Meets Duke series, which has the Duchess deal, the Wallflower Wager, and the Governess Game. And then The Bride Bet is going to be book 4, and I'm so excited about it. You know I love Tessa Dare. I only have 4 of her books left to read, and I'll have read them all. And I'm really sad about it. But luckily she's still writing, so it's going to be great. And then the last one I want to talk about, which we don't even know for sure will come out this year, but I want it to start being talked about, and that is Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone by Diana Gabaldon, which will be book 9 in the Outlander saga series. Long journey, epic, whatever you want to call it. She is almost done writing it. She's in the final connection, and she said the last time that it got through copy edits and ready to get out within a month, which I know won't happen yet. But I do believe that it will be out by the end of this year. Like, I just believe. It's been 6 years since the last one came out. Holy crap. 6 years. I'll be finished with my reread in March, I believe, is how I'm going. Like, I'm going to be, no, April. And yeah, I am ready. I will be ready for the 9th book. I'm ready to see what happens. There was a crazy cliffhanger at the end of the last one, and I am so pumped. I love Outlander so much. Like, honestly, if I had to get rid of every other books that I own, like if I could keep one series to reread, we're getting deep right now in this video. That's coming from nowhere. I would keep the Outlander saga. series. I would, because there's so much in it and it has so many of the things that I like that I think I could do it. I think I could do it. So, all right. Well, let us wrap this up now. These are the books that I'm most excited for probably the first half of the year. I think they're all the first half minus Bees, because we have no idea when that will be out. And I'll probably make another one of these as like more are possible, maybe midway through the year, who knows. Tell me which of these you're excited for. Have you purchased any of the ones I already got? Do you have any of these pre-ordered? Are you excited for them? I put up new videos whenever I want to. But for sure on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and sometimes Tuesdays like this one. I just really want to make this video, and so that's what we do. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Every little bit helps me out. I just got monetized finally, so the more traction I get, the better for everything. You guys are so supportive, and I love you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.